Today, we've got a really juicy topic. Or should I say sugar-free topic? Here's a question for you all. Have you ever wondered what really happens to your body and mind when you cut out sugar completely for 30 days?
Right. We all know sugar isn't exactly health food, but 30 days without it, that's a whole other level of commitment. We're going to dive into what might happen, the good, the bad, and the surprising.
And to keep things interesting, we've invited a special guest today, a nutritionist who's here to help us separate sugar fact from sugar fiction. By the end, we'll share some lesser-known benefits of quitting sugar, benefits that don't get talked about as often.
Absolutely. And we're also bringing a vocabulary boost, 10 words at the end of this episode to help you better describe journeys like this. So stick with us, because you won't want to miss these words.
So, let's dive in. Chris, how do you feel about sugar? Have you ever tried cutting it out?
Honestly, I've thought about it, especially after a few, shall we say, sugar hangovers. You know that feeling after a big dessert binge? But I've never actually done a full month. It sounds intense.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean. I did try to quit sugar once. It's amazing how much we crave it without even realizing. And the withdrawal? Let's just say it was a bumpy ride for a few days.
Sounds like an experience, but I can relate. I think for a lot of us, sugar is tied up in comfort and mood. It's like this sneaky friend who sometimes feels impossible to say goodbye to.
Which is exactly why we're here today. Let's see if our expert can help us understand what really goes on in the body when we quit sugar, what challenges to expect, and, of course, if it's all worth it in the end.
Yes, so, stay tuned, everyone, because you're going to want to hear what our expert has to say about cravings, energy, and even how sugar affects your skin, sleep, and mental clarity. Let's welcome our special guest.
Let's kick things off with a question for you. Have you ever wondered what actually happens in your body when you stop eating sugar for a month? It might sound simple, but the effects are a bit surprising. Stick around because we'll answer that at the end of today's podcast. And if you stay with us, we've got 10 new vocabulary words to share to help you boost your English too.
Right, and honestly, I have such a love-hate relationship with sugar. Like, I love chocolate, but, well, the energy crash an hour later, not so much.
Same here. Sugar just makes everything taste amazing. But I've noticed I feel really sluggish the next day if I overdo it.
So true. But today, we're going beyond just our experiences. We've got an expert with us who knows all about what sugar does to the body. Please welcome Dr. May, a nutritionist specializing in sugar metabolism and diet effects on health. Dr. May, we're so excited to have you with us today.
Hi, Sophie and Chris. Thank you for having me. Sugar is such a popular topic, and for good reason. It affects everything from your mood to your energy levels. When people cut out sugar, they often see big changes, and some of these changes happen faster than you might think.
Wow, I'm so curious. So, what exactly happens when we eat sugar?
Great question, Sophie. When you eat sugar, your body processes it really quickly, which causes your blood sugar to spike. You get a rush of energy, but that energy doesn't last, which is why we often experience a crash afterward.
That totally makes sense. So, are there other ways sugar affects us day to day?
Absolutely. Beyond energy, sugar also impacts your mood. The ups and downs in blood sugar can lead to mood swings. There's actually research showing that higher sugar intake can be linked to increased levels of anxiety and stress. And then, of course, there are long-term effects, like an increased risk of weight gain and even heart disease.
That's intense. So even though it tastes so good, sugar doesn't exactly love us back.
Exactly. All right, Dr. May, can you tell us, what can someone expect if they decide to cut sugar completely for a whole month?
Sure. When someone stops eating sugar, the first week is usually the hardest. They might feel cravings, low energy, or even mild headaches. But after about a week, the cravings get a lot easier. By week 2, most people feel more energetic and focused, and some even notice they're sleeping better.
Amazing! It's like sugar is this sneaky thing in our diets that we don't realize has such a huge effect.
I know, and it sounds like going sugar-free might actually improve our lives in a lot of ways.
It really can. Plus, it's not about cutting it forever but finding balance. Reducing sugar can help reset your taste buds too, so you start enjoying natural flavors more.
Love that. Thanks so much, Dr. May. This is already so interesting. Let's dive deeper in the next segment on the practical ways to reduce sugar. And Chris and I will share our own attempts at cutting back too. All right, so the first week of no sugar. Let's just say it wasn't exactly a breeze for me. I went in optimistic, but by day 3, I was craving sweets more than ever. Every pastry shop I walked by felt like it was calling my name. How about you, Chris?
Oh, totally relatable. I had a moment where I almost caved in. I opened the fridge, saw my roommate's chocolate stash, and just stood there staring like it was my long-lost friend. I didn't give in, but the temptation was real. So, Dr. May, is this normal? Are we just weak? Or is there some science behind this madness?
Absolutely normal. Those intense cravings you're both experiencing, it's actually your body reacting to the sudden drop in sugar. Sugar is incredibly addictive, and when you remove it, your body has a bit of a withdrawal reaction. So, Sophie, that craving for pastries, and Chris, your staring contest with the chocolate, that's your body adjusting.
That makes me feel a bit better, actually. So, what kind of symptoms do people usually experience?
Well, fatigue and irritability are two big ones. Sugar is a quick energy source, so without it, you might feel low on energy at first. Some people even feel headaches or experience mood swings. Your body is essentially recalibrating itself to function without that constant influx of sugar.
That explains why I was extra grumpy. I didn't realize it was withdrawal. Any tips for getting through this phase without totally losing it?
Absolutely. I always tell people to be kind to themselves during this time and to focus on drinking plenty of water, eating whole foods, and even allowing some natural sugars, like from fruit, to ease the cravings a little. And don't worry, the initial discomfort usually eases after the first week or so.
So there's a light at the end of the tunnel. It sounds like it's just about being patient and taking care of yourself through those cravings and mood dips.
Right, and knowing it's part of the process actually makes it easier to handle. Thanks for that insight, Dr. May. All right, listeners, keep hanging in there. We're going to tackle how to make this journey even easier in the next session.
Chris, we're 2 weeks into this sugar-free journey. How are you feeling?
Honestly, Sophie, I feel surprisingly clear-headed. It's like my brain fog has lifted a bit. I wasn't expecting it, but it's a nice bonus.
That's awesome. For me, I've noticed I'm actually sleeping better. I wake up feeling a lot more rested. I didn't realize how much sugar was impacting my sleep.
And it's crazy how fast those changes happened, right? Just 2 weeks. I thought it would take way longer.
Same here. And we're lucky to have Dr. May with us today to explain why this is happening. Dr. May, why do we feel these changes so quickly after cutting out sugar?
Great question. At about the 2-week mark, your body has started stabilizing its blood sugar levels. Without those constant sugar highs and crashes, your energy becomes more consistent. Plus, sugar can interfere with sleep by impacting your insulin and cortisol levels. Cutting it out can help your body find a better balance, so it's common to feel more rested.
That makes a lot of sense. I noticed my skin is looking clearer too. Is that another benefit?
Absolutely. Chris, sugar can lead to inflammation, which often shows up on the skin as acne or puffiness. By reducing sugar, you're lowering inflammation, which gives your skin a chance to clear up and look healthier.
I love that. So, there's a real science behind these improvements. And it's nice to know that what we're doing is actually benefiting our bodies in a big way.
For sure. Dr. May, do you have any advice for people who want to experience these benefits but find it tough to get through the first couple of weeks?
Absolutely. Start by focusing on whole, unprocessed foods that keep you full, like proteins, healthy fats, and fiber-rich vegetables. It helps curb cravings and keeps your energy levels stable. And don't forget to stay hydrated. It's easy to mistake thirst for sugar cravings.
Great tips, Dr. May. I'm going to try that out myself. We're diving into a topic that might hit home for many of you, emotional and mental health shifts after cutting out sugar for 30 days. But before we dive in, let me ask you, how many of you feel like sugar might be affecting your mood, energy, and focus? You might be surprised by how much it plays a role. Stick with us until the end because we'll be answering this question, and we'll also be sharing 10 vocab words that you can practice at home.
Yes, and I think a lot of us don't realize how much of a toll sugar can take on our emotions. But before we jump into all of that, we have a special guest today. She's here to give us some expert insights on how sugar really affects our mental health and what we can do to improve things. Dr. May is a nutritionist with a wealth of knowledge on this topic, and she's going to help us understand why quitting sugar isn't just good for our bodies but also our minds.
That's right, Dr. May. Welcome to the podcast. It's such a pleasure to have you with us today. We've already shared our own experiences, but we're so excited to hear your professional perspective. So, Dr. May, what's your take on how sugar affects emotional and mental health, especially after cutting it out?
Thank you for having me. Well, sugar has a huge impact on your brain chemistry, and when you cut it out, the changes can be quite dramatic. Sugar can cause spikes in insulin, and this not only affects your energy levels but can also lead to mood swings and even anxiety. When you stop eating sugar, your brain starts to stabilize, and this leads to clearer thinking, a more balanced mood, and an overall improvement in emotional well-being.
That's really interesting. I think one of the biggest challenges people face when they quit sugar is managing social situations. Family gatherings, social events, there's always that temptation. Dr. May, do you have any tips for how people can navigate those situations without feeling left out or going back to sugar?
Absolutely. The key is preparation and mindset. First, I always encourage my clients to have a healthy snack or alternative ready. If you're going to a party or gathering, bring something you can enjoy. Second, don't be afraid to speak up. People may not realize the effort you're putting into your health, but once you explain it, they'll be supportive. And finally, remember that it's not about perfection. If you have a little treat, don't beat yourself up. Just get back on track the next day.
That's such great advice, Dr. May. It really seems like it's about being proactive and setting yourself up for success. For me, I've noticed I feel a lot more balanced emotionally. I used to have these big mood swings, but since cutting sugar, I've definitely felt more stable. I don't crave that sugar rush anymore, and I actually feel calmer overall. Have you noticed any changes in your mental health, Chris?
Yeah, definitely. For me, the biggest change has been how much more focused I feel. I'm able to concentrate for longer periods of time, and I'm just not as distracted as I used to be. It's crazy how much sugar was affecting my focus and productivity, and it's all thanks to cutting it out. But I'll admit, there were a few rough days at the beginning.
Oh, I can totally relate. Those first few days were tough. I had a bit of a headache and felt super tired. But the funny thing is, once I got through that initial detox phase, things started to feel so much better. I'm sleeping better, I have more energy, and my moods are way more stable.
Exactly. Sophie, those first few days are often the hardest because your body is used to sugar, and it can take a while to reset. But once that happens, your body will thank you. You'll feel more energized, focused, and mentally sharp. And that's because you're no longer relying on the quick highs and crashes that sugar causes.
That's so true. It's amazing how much more in control we feel once we cut out sugar. Dr. May, do you have any final tips for our listeners who might be in week 3 of their sugar detox and still struggling with emotional ups and downs?
Yes. I'd say the biggest tip is to be patient with yourself. It can take a few weeks for your body to fully adjust. Also, make sure you're staying hydrated, getting enough sleep, and managing stress. Sometimes, it's not just the food. Emotional stress or lack of sleep can also contribute to mood swings. So take care of your body and mind holistically.
That's great advice, Dr. May. It's not just about the food, but the whole picture of wellness. Well, that's it for today's discussion, folks. Remember, it's okay to have some ups and downs on this journey, but with the right tools and mindset, you'll come out feeling better than ever. If you've been following our journey, you know we've been on a 30-day challenge to cut sugar from our diets. Now, here's a question for you. What do you think happens after 30 days of no sugar? Does it change you for good? Or is it just a temporary fix? We'll dive into that today and share the lasting effects of cutting sugar from your diet. But before we get started, stick with us till the end because we've got 10 new vocabulary words to review that you can use in your wellness journey.
Absolutely, Sophie. We're also joined today by a special guest, Dr. May, who is a nutritionist and wellness expert. She'll help us unpack the long-term benefits of reducing sugar in your diet and how to make sustainable changes for your health.
Dr. May, welcome. We've talked a lot about the short-term effects of cutting out sugar, but what about the long-term benefits? Can you share how this change might impact our health months or even years down the line?
When you reduce sugar over the long term, you're lowering your risk for several chronic conditions, like heart disease, diabetes, and obesity. But it doesn't stop there. Studies have shown that people who cut back on sugar report better energy levels, improved moods, and better sleep. Over time, your body also gets better at metabolizing food, so you start to feel more balanced overall. The benefits are cumulative, meaning the more consistent you are, the better you feel in the long run.
That's amazing. I've definitely noticed my energy levels staying more stable throughout the day. But what about cravings? I know a lot of people are concerned that after the challenge ends, they'll just go back to their old habits. What's the best way to make these habits stick?
Great question, Chris. The key is to focus on replacing unhealthy habits with healthier ones. Start by integrating natural sugars, like those found in fruits, into your meals instead of processed sugars. It's about shifting your mindset from deprivation to making healthier choices. Also, keep up with a balanced diet and exercise routine. This combination really helps to maintain the benefits you've gained. The goal is to find a sustainable lifestyle that works for you, not just a temporary change.
I can totally relate to what you're saying, Dr. May. It's been tough, but I feel so much better now that I'm not relying on sugar to get through the day. I think I'll definitely keep some of these habits, like swapping sugary snacks for fruits. It's a small change, but it makes a huge difference.
I'm with you, Sophie. I've found that it's not about being perfect, it's about progress. I'm going to keep cutting back on sugar, especially when it comes to drinks. I've already started feeling less sluggish and more energized, and I'll definitely keep the habit of reading labels.
That's fantastic to hear. It's all about taking small, consistent steps toward a healthier lifestyle, and it sounds like both of you are on the right track.
So, here's the big question we asked at the start. Is quitting sugar for 30 days worth it? After hearing Dr. May and reflecting on our own experiences, I'd say yes. The improvements in our energy, mood, and health are definitely worth it.
Absolutely. It's not just about cutting out sugar. It's about replacing it with better, more mindful choices. So yes, it's worth it. But remember, you don't have to do it alone. Getting support, whether from friends, experts, or apps, can really make a difference.
Thanks so much for joining us today, Dr. May. You've really helped us understand how making small, consistent changes can lead to big, lasting results.
And to our listeners, we hope this episode has inspired you to make some changes of your own. Remember, it's not about being perfect, but about progress. Stick with it, and you'll see the benefits.
All right, let's dive into our vocabulary review. We'll be covering 10 words related to today's topic of quitting sugar for 30 days. I'll say the word, and I want you to repeat it after me. Ready? Let's go!
Yes, let's do it. And remember, stick with us till the end for some practical examples to make sure you remember them.
The first word is cravings. Can you repeat after me? Cravings. Cravings refer to a strong desire or urge for something, Often something we know is not good for us, like sugar. For example, I've been having strong cravings for chocolate since I started cutting out sugar.
The next word is detox. Let's say it together. Detox. Detox refers to the process of removing toxins or unhealthy substances from the body. For example, I'm doing a sugar detox to cleanse my system and feel healthier.
Next up is metabolism. Repeat after me. Metabolism. Metabolism is the process by which your body converts what you eat and drink into energy. For example, cutting down on sugar can improve your metabolism over time, helping you burn energy more efficiently.
Now let's look at the word balanced. Repeat after me. Balanced. Balanced means having all parts or elements in the correct proportions. It's about not too much of anything. For example, a balanced diet includes fruits, vegetables, proteins, and healthy fats, without too much sugar.
Next we have sustainability. Can you repeat? Sustainability. Sustainability means being able to maintain or continue something over time, without causing harm or burnout. For example, cutting out sugar is great, but we need a sustainable way to stick to it long term.
Let's move on to addiction. Say it with me. Addiction. Addiction is when someone can't stop doing something, even though it may be harmful. For example, I've had a sugar addiction for years, but quitting it was a game changer.
Our next word is hydration. Can you repeat after me? Hydration. Hydration means keeping your body hydrated with enough water. Staying hydrated is key, especially when cutting out sugary drinks. For example, drinking plenty of water helps with hydration, especially when you're detoxing from sugar.
Next is energy. Say it with me. Energy. Energy refers to the strength and vitality needed for physical or mental activity. For example, after cutting out sugar, I noticed I had more energy throughout the day.
The next word is nutrients. Repeat after me. Nutrients. Nutrients are the substances your body needs to function properly, like vitamins and minerals. For example, a nutrient-rich diet can help you stay healthy even when you cut out sugar.
And our last word is mindful. Say it with me. Mindful. Mindful means being fully aware or conscious of something, paying attention to the present moment. For example, I've become more mindful of what I eat since I stopped eating sugar.
All right, that's it for our vocabulary review. I hope you're feeling more confident with these words. Be sure to use them next time you're talking about your health and wellness journey.
Exactly, and remember, these words will help you understand how cutting out sugar can impact your life. Keep them in mind as you continue your journey to a healthier lifestyle.
This is the end of today's episode, but remember, learning English doesn't stop here. There's so much more to explore, so make sure to check out our other episodes to keep your English journey going. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and stay updated with our latest lessons. Keep practicing, keep growing, and we'll see you in the next episode. Happy learning!